Coming up today on That LTD Life, we're going to be checking out GoZen Forms.ai. This is one of the most beloved form builder tools to ever be on AppSumo, and it has returned for a limited time. My name is Dave, by the way. I'm from ClientAm.com. This video is not sponsored. I'm going to be trying out GoZen Form for the very first time here, giving you my honest feedback whether or not I think this is a good investment. Now, the AppSumo links have already spoken here. 458 positive reviews. So who am I to go against them? Well, I'm going to try anyways. Let's see if I can find anything wrong with this. Now, this is the deal page. We'll be coming back here at the end of the video to discuss plans and pricing. A few things you need to know. This is currently on sale for the next 4 hours and 17 minutes. And if you do decide to grab it, of course, I have a link in the description. All right, so I've got my account here. I have not used it yet. It's a very Zen interface, very simple and clean. So I like that. The overall workflow looks like I've got a workspace over here. I can add additional workspaces. So maybe this was going to be something like quizzes. I could do that. And now I've got a dedicated workspace for quizzes, or I could organize it, by multiple clients or different brands. So here's Dave Swift's workspace and, however you'd like to do it. Now, it does say over here on the AppSumo deal page that we're going to be able to use this for forms, surveys, and quizzes. So let's get started building our very first form. That seems like the most obvious route. So back over to GoZen Forms, I'm going to choose a template to begin, and let's just do a kind of a basic contact form. There's a lot of different templates here. There's always something that's good to look for in any form builder. I searched for contact form. I've only got one template, but let's go ahead and, we can preview this, see what it looks like. Kind of a type form appearance. I'll hit let's start. Yeah, very, very type form. In fact, it just says powered by GoZen Forms. Otherwise, I would swear it was type form. You can see all the questions here, a little progress meter at the top. That looks good. Phone number, email, address, city, state and province, postal code, country, and then comments or questions. All right, so that looks good. Let's go ahead and try this one out. I'll hit use this template. It wants me to name it. I'm just going to leave it as the contact information form copy. And now I've got a little onboarding guide. Okay, so here is the overall layout of the form. On the left, we have all of the different questions. I can duplicate them or remove them. And of course, I can click into any specific question if I want to modify it. So this is more of a conversational style form, right? Because we can only see one question at a time. If I click on this plus button, I can see all of the different types of questions that I can ask. So it can be email, phone number, website, short text, paragraph, number, date, e-signatures. That's cool. We can do file uploads, payments. I will see how we can connect that up to a payment processor shortly here. Multiple choice, drop down, yes or no, or picture choice. And then under ratings, we can do a star rating or a net promoter score. And then for form structure, we can do a thank you screen or a statement. So I can see down here, the ending is the thank you screen. If I click on that, it just says thank you. I can click in here and make any edits that I need. Now I'm going to be going deeper into each one of the questions shortly, but I just want to get a broad bird's eye view of the application, everything I can look forward to editing. So I noticed that next to create, I've got logic, so conditional logic. Here are all of the questions, and right now we're just flowing from one question to the next. But I could set up some specific logic here, like let's say I got a certain answer for email, maybe that determines whether or not I go to another question. So for example, here is the email question. Right now it always goes to address, but I can add in a rule. So if email is equal to, or let's say contains, and I typed in gmail.com, then maybe I skip the address section. Now that doesn't make any sense at all, but I just want to give you an example of how this could work. So then we are going to go right into city. So then it adds the little conditional logic there. Very nice visual for conditional logic. Probably one of the best I have seen on a form builder. On like basically every other form builder, you're kind of just left to visualize in your head what the flow is. So seeing it laid out here is really nice. Now I've been looking under logic and branching for doing that conditional logic, but there's some other tabs here as well, like scoring, which I assume would be for quizzes. And then we've got variables and hidden fields. So perhaps we'll come back and hit on these, but I just wanted to mention there are a lot more features buried inside of the logic section. Okay, so after we've created our form, set up our conditional logic, then we can start to integrate with other tools. Looks like there's a lot of tools here that we can use. So we've got Google Sheets, MailChimp, Pabbly. I know a lot of LTD users will be happy about that. There's ActiveCampaign, Integromat, Zapier, webhooks. That is good as well. We got HubSpot, Sendinblue, Slack, Discord. I mean, boy, the list goes on and on here. I can't name them all, but perhaps you can see the icons on the screen that is interesting to you. Ooh, it's got Fluent CRM and SendFox. All right, moving on to the share screen, there's a few different ways to actually get people to fill out your form. The first is to just copy the URL and then, share it where you want people to fill it out. Otherwise, we can embed it on a web page, and it looks like there's quite a few options here. We can do a standard embed, a pop-up, a slider, and a side tab. Oh, looks like there is a WordPress plugin here as well. So if you're a WordPress user, you can take advantage of that. Otherwise, you can get embed codes right here. Now, you will need to connect up your domain, which I have not done yet. So to proceed to the next step of actually seeing what this looks like, I'm going to go back over to the create section and then go ahead and publish this form. And here we go. We've got a URL. It's going to be the same URL that we saw over on the share page here. Now we can open up a new tab, paste in that URL, and we can actually fill out the form. Now I'm having a little bit of trouble with the phone number field here. It just was not accepting any of the phone numbers that I entered in. And as I'm choosing my country, the selector, it's a little bit small. I wish that was bigger and I could see more countries at once, at least like 3 or 4. That'd be great. But I'm choosing United States, which is where I live. And then I entered in a phone number here. I did get it eventually to go through, but if I choose next and then I go back to previous, it changes back to Canada. I don't know if that really influences things, but it's just kind of weird to me. Another little thing that's mildly irritating as I'm filling out the form is, like, let's say I typed in my city. I don't live in Beverly Hills, but I'm gonna press return and that works great, but then it doesn't automatically select the next field for me. I actually have to click in there in order to type anything. Now it says select an option, no options found. I'll go back and try this again. All right, that's kind of weird, but it took it. So let's go from there. Same thing with the country options. The dropdown is just not appearing. All right, so I'm gonna submit this form. We can see what it looks like on the back end. All right, here's the thank you page. It just says again. Now keep in mind, I just grabbed the template and then used that exactly. I didn't modify it at all. I could customize that, but it's a little bit weird that I'd have to. I click again, nothing actually happens here. All right, so back inside of the application, from the share page, we can go over to the results and I have a result, obviously. So here is the page that was visited. I can see that I have a desktop response and it did tag me as from the United States appropriately. So that all looks good. It did take me 3 minutes and 45 seconds to figure out all of the fields. So that is a bit of a problem. I was honestly trying to do it as quick as I could. I wasn't, distracted or anything. It just, some of the fields just did not work for me. So this is the Insights tab. There's also a summary page where we can see maybe in bulk kind of how everyone's answering the questions here. So whether they've been answered or skipped. And then on the responses page, it's more of a table to show you each individual form fill. And I could export these as well. So it says it will download to a CSV file. All right, great. So everything did export as expected. Now let's go ahead and create a brand new form. This time I'm going to start from scratch. So I'll choose create form right over here. And I can choose start from scratch, choose from template, or using AI. I wonder why I didn't see that before. I'm going to use AI. Let's try that out. All right, so here is the prompt, essentially, you can call it that I'm going to use to create this form. So I said, this is the YouTube viewer survey. And I explained that I want to survey viewers of my YouTube channel to find out what their interests and background are so I can use that data to attract sponsors. Companies do this sort of thing all of the time. That's why they ask you to fill out customer satisfaction surveys. And I decided to limit this to 8 questions. And let's have the AI create the form, see how it does. All right, that was really quick. We've got a form already. First question is, have you watched videos on my YouTube channel before? Yes or no? And then on a scale of 110, how likely are you to recommend my channel to a friend or a colleague? Obviously, it means 1 to 10, but then it also gives stars of 0 to 5 stars. Can I go halfway on these stars? No, it doesn't look like it. So I can change the steps up here to make it modify, and then I could change the shape. Oh, the only option is star. So I just want to call out here that the other tool this most reminds me of was called OpenForm, another AppSumo lifetime deal. I made a video about it and it was very, very similar to this. It had that AI element where I could just kind of type what I wanted the form to be about, except I think OpenForm did a much better job, just judging on, 2 questions so far. The next question is, how often do you watch videos on YouTube? And then I'd have to modify this. We've also got what type of content are you most interested in on YouTube? Then we've got what is your age range? Now it also here, it did not give me any potential answers and that's kind of frustrating. I'd like to have the entire form created for me so I don't have to type out different age ranges. That seems like AI could probably handle that. Yeah, this next one doesn't have any answers either. It says, are you a student or a working professional? And then it says, do you follow any other YouTube channels similar to mine? And then the last question is, would you be interested in receiving updates on upcoming videos and events from my channel? Okay, so these questions were fine, but they weren't really relevant to that original message I had, or that prompt, which was to gather information about viewers. So typically what sponsors are gonna wanna know is like, what's your job? How much money do you make? Do you have kids? That kind of essential information. And I was hoping the AI would be smart enough to pick up on that and create the right questions, but it really didn't do that. There's an AI button up here. When I click on that, I did it on the other form too. And it just says, sorry, but we're encountering generation issues, or issues generating questions, I should say. All right, so each individual question does have some settings over here. So you can mark it like required, and then you can modify the different buttons. So this is a yes or no question. So I could change it, instead of yes or no, I could be like, yep and no way. And you saw me earlier, I went ahead and modified these stars to have more of them. I could also change the question to be like 1 through 10. And then I can add descriptions for the stars like least, medium, and most. I'm gonna try adding in my own custom question here. I'll go to the plus button, and I really wanna see what that picture choice looks like. So let's click on that, and here is the picture choice question. I'll say, which would you eat? And then I'll click this plus button to add my image. I can upload it, choose from the gallery, which looks like it's probably Unsplash or Pexels or something like that. And I've got my gallery, so this will probably be other uploads I've had. All right, I'm gonna upload some delicious tacos here. Oh, it actually didn't take that as an upload. Let's try that again. This is not a drop zone, so I actually have to click on upload your file, even though it looked like a drop zone. All right, we'll upload this, and then I'll add in another question, hit upload again. And there we go. I've got 2 different picture questions. Now I'm curious, if I were to upload a third one, go to my gallery. Yep, my tacos show up there as well. So that was what I expected. All right, I'm gonna stick with just these 2 images. So I'll remove that third one. And I think this is looking pretty good. The other question I wanted to try out was that payment field. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit plus again, and we'll do payment. And I'll just say, give me your money, your card will be charged. What are the question options here? Okay. So it says your Stripe account is connected, even though I have not connected my Stripe account. I'll make this required. I'll make this $199. There is a themes option over here where I can change the overall look of the form. Right now I'm on the default theme, I believe. So let's try out one of these other ones. Let's choose this theme. Now, does that apply? Yeah, it applies to every single question. So some different styles. You can kind of scroll through these and find the one that you like best. Now you can also customize the theme as well. So there's a little pencil icon where you can choose different fonts. Doesn't look like you can upload your own custom fonts or anything, but there are all of the Google fonts available. And then you can choose different colors for each element, like questions, descriptions, answers, button text, backgrounds. You can add a background image, and then choose small, medium, or large for the font size. So here's large, here's medium, and here's small. Another nice touch is you can actually create your own theme. So we can just go right in here, give the theme a name, choose our font and colors, save it, and then it'll be available for all of our other forms going forward. For now, I'm gonna go with this kind of Elementor themed form. I think that'll work. And the last thing to check out is the settings over here. So we can add in branding or remove branding. It's off by default, that's nice. That progress bar we saw earlier on, that is a little toggle switch. There's this option here for messages that pops up in this sidebar where we can customize all of the messages that are displayed as the user interacts with the form. Under email notification, we can set up or modify our email notifications. So I want to get notified when someone fills out the form, or I want to send a notification to someone else when they fill out the form. You can do that. It says to send email to your respondents, you need to add email questions in your form. So you have to get their email address to do this. That makes sense. And here is the section I've been waiting for. Kind of nervously, I will add, there is the ability to do non-conversational forms. I can do a single page form here, which just puts all of the questions on a single page, or there's also custom forms where I assume I can start to modify things. So here is page 1. And now if I just wanted one question on this page, that's good, but I could also hit the plus button and maybe drag in another multiple choice before going to page 2. All right, that makes this tool a lot better in my book. I was very nervous. I was like, conversational forms are okay, but I don't always want that. By the way, the layout we have been using, the conversational forms, what I've called it, they call that slides. So if you want to stick to that sliding effect, that's what it is. You can schedule the form to start and end at a particular date. That's great for events or where you're trying to get people to register, or maybe you just want feedback in a certain period of time. You can do that right here. We can also limit the number of responses, allow or disallow multiple submissions. So only allow someone to fill out the form once. And then we can close the form. That's weird. Yeah, that doesn't do anything. I can't click on it. I don't know what it means. Probably if it was a pop-up, that's what I imagine. If you're using this in a pop-up scenario, which would mean it's gonna have to be, no, I was thinking it would only work maybe if I was on the single page mode, but it doesn't at all. So this tool's been out there long enough. I'm sure one of you already knows. What does close form do? Leave me a comment, let me know. Okay, so just a few more things to take care of over here in GoZen Forms. First of all, I wanna find out how to connect up my Stripe account. It seemed to think I was already connected, but I'm not. So I'm gonna go up to my user avatar here, go to settings, and I assume here, yep, there is Stripe. I can link to my Stripe account very easily right there. The other feature I wanted to mention was domains. So there's 3 different options here: embed domain, subdomain, and custom domain. Let's clarify what this means. Every AppSumo account does come with a CNAME record. So that means I can go to custom domain, hit add custom domain, and then type in whatever I like here. So in my case, it might be something like forms.clientamp.com, or for you, you could just do like clientamp forums or whatever you like. You can do like a main domain or a subdomain. It doesn't matter. I mean, you wouldn't do clientamp forums, but you could do your domain forums.com. If you want to purchase a dedicated domain, you could do that. This way, when you share the forms, it's going to have your own subdomain or your own root domain on that share link. It won't be GoZen Forms at all. It'll be more unique or white labeled to your brand. Of course, you could also embed the forms on your domain, but as we saw, we need to add our domain over here. That will also add a layer of security, because then the form will only be allowed to be embedded on your specific domain. The subdomain option is not at all related to your website. This is simply to add a subdomain to GoZen Forms. So let's say I wanted it to be clientamp or dave.gozenforms.com. Let's see if that's available. Looks like I got it. So now if I go back to my forms, let's just open that contact form we began with, and I go over to share. Notice I can do a drop down here, and I can do dave.gozenforms.com and then some gobbledygook. So definitely not as good as having a custom domain, but if you don't have a domain, this is better than nothing. All right, so heading over to the AppSumo deal page, let's check out what's included at certain price points. I want to point out again, the price is going to increase. It's currently $69. It will probably go up to $79 by next Monday. So if you like what you've seen so far, definitely don't sleep on this one. So every plan is going to include all of the questions you can eat. We've got removal of branding. We can use that conditional logic to jump around inside of the quiz. Remember, saw that little chart. That was really cool. We can export our responses to CSV. We've got 100 plus pre-built templates. That is pretty impressive. Restrict multiple form submissions. You saw that little toggle box. We've got industry specific forms, limit the number of responses. We covered that as well. Multiple layout forms. That's to do whether it's like, grouping them together on one page or the sliding. We've got the progress bar. We can add our own themes. We can do custom webhooks. And then we talked about the integrations and the CNAME. So that's included in every single plan. Other than that, you're just looking at the limits. So how many users do you need? How many domains do you need? And then whether or not you need to use a lot of AI generation. So the cheapest plan, the one I've been using, is 5 domains, 1 user, and we get 5 gigs of storage with 5,000 responses per month. The highest end plan you can get, if you go all the way up to tier 5, essentially you're going to be almost darn near unlimited here. You'll get only 10 users, but unlimited domains, unlimited responses, all the workspaces you can eat, and unlimited forms. All of the plans, by the way, come with unlimited forms. So it's really nice because all of the plans have the same features. You just need to choose the limits that are going to be right for your business. I honestly think the tier 1 is pretty generous here. I think most businesses would be just fine with 5,000 responses per month. But if you're an agency and you want to go for unlimited domains, you could do that. Never need to worry about forms again. And just to be totally clear here, you can get unlimited domains starting at tier 3. All right, so time for my final thoughts and final score. Before I do that, make sure you hit that like button and click subscribe if you haven't already. So GoZen Forms, I know I'm gonna get questions comparing this to OpenForm. And I will say that I think OpenForm probably performs a little bit better, is a little bit nicer to use, but it's not by much. If you have OpenForm, you're good. If you have GoZen Form, you're good. They're both very useful utilities. Neither is a complete slam dunk. You saw in the video, I had a few errors here with GoZen Form. Nothing was like completely perfect, but nothing was broken either, like beyond repair. I got everything to work as I expected. So I would definitely recommend this if you're looking for a lifetime deal, probably the best lifetime deal on forms available right now. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a score of, let's say 6.8. Really, really good form building tool. Definitely worth your consideration. That's going to do it for this video. My name is Dave Swift. Make sure you check out clientamp.com and get signed up for the free email newsletter. Hit me up in the comments if you have any questions. Make sure you click on my AppSumo link before making a purchase. That's going to do it for this review. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.